This is a low impact, total body strength and conditioning workout designed to support you throughout your cycle. This is one that I want you to save as your backup plan for days when things don't quite go the way that you planned. So maybe life gets in the way, maybe you didn't sleep as well as you anticipated, maybe you are traveling or you don't have access to the equipment that you're used to. This is a great practice to have as a plan B, a backup for those days. Maybe your energy is a little bit lower in the follicular phase, or maybe you're needing something just a little gentler in your luteal phase. This practice can serve you in any time, any phase throughout your cycle. It is body weight only, it's low impact, so we are going to be moving very slowly with intention, and we're really cultivating more of a deep musculoskeletal response. We're tapping into deep core engagement. We are really focusing on mind-muscle connection because we don't have the load to do that for us. So in the absence of weights, we really have to create that muscle activation. So we're working on that today while incorporating the breath throughout. This practice does have 15 different exercises that will perform for 1 minute each. Depending on which phase of the cycle you're in, you might change up that interval a little bit. I'll include some guidance for that in the description of this video. But in general, 1 minute each for each of these exercises. And you can cut the practice at the 15-minute mark. So let's say you need a quick movement snack, maybe on your lunch break, or maybe you don't have that much time in the morning. You just want something that's going to get your blood flowing and kind of unlock your natural energy. You can stick with me for that 15 minutes. If you want a slightly longer practice, but still something low impact, low intensity, you can rest with me for a minute between sets and then complete that 15-minute circuit a second time through. So that will be a total of 30 minutes for the complete practice. This one, again, is gentle enough from start to finish that we don't need a separate warm-up or cool down. I will include a link to a 5-minute cool down in case you're feeling a little bit elevated, activated after the second round, or maybe after your first round. You can use that cool down to help resolve the stress response. That's particularly useful if you're in the follicular phase, and let's say you're picking up the pace and intensity in that second round. You can use that cool down again to help ground your energy and leave you feeling more balanced. So this one, body weight only. I encourage you to be very gentle with yourself. Try these exercises, see how they feel, and then if you need to, use the modifications. So I'll be guiding you throughout with ways to kind of scale up or down, and notice that this will change for you from one day to the next. Maybe one day your full plank feels great. Another day you really need to bring the knees down. There's no more or less than in these exercises. There's really just that deep listening and learning to respond to the signals of your body. So your body's telling you something and it's your job to respond. That's the artistry that comes into play with cyclical fitness. And this type of body weight work is a really great place to practice that skill, to really listen and respond, be in that co-creative process with your body so that you can create a practice that just really feels good at the end of the day. So now let's get started. Welcome to your total body workout designed to support all phases of your cycle. This is a workout I want you to save as your backup plan. It is a great workout to turn to when, let's say, you didn't get the sleep that you were hoping for, or maybe you are not at your home gym or your local gym, you're traveling and don't have access to the equipment that you're used to. This is a great workout to have in your back pocket as your backup plan. It's body weight, it's nice and gentle, something that you can do anytime, any place. It is suitable for all phases of your cycle. I'll add some notes in the description for how to modify the interval structure and the effort depending on where you are in your cycle. I am in premenstrual territory, so that premenstrual menstrual phase transition. So I'm going to be taking things nice and slow today. I'm using 60-second continuous intervals, so just moving from one exercise to the other with that fluid pace. This is a great one if maybe you're in your follicular phase but you're having an off day, or you're hitting the ovulatory phase with more luteal vibes. So you need something a little more gentle. That's the vibe that I'm going to have today. But if you are in kind of more of that high energy state, you can switch things up. You can add a little bit more pace, a little bit more power, and create that challenge for yourself. So this is a great customizable workout that you can use throughout your cycle. We have 15 different exercises. We'll do each one for a minute. So you have the option of making this a quick 15-minute practice to send you on your way, or you can stick with me for that second round and we will have 30 minutes total. So lots of options there. It's gentle enough that we can jump right in and head right out. Nothing extra needed, no warm up or cool down. So let's go ahead and get started. I will set our timer up. We will have 20 seconds to set up for our walkout push-up. So you're going to come to the back of your mat, stand up nice and tall, give a little shake, maybe take a few breaths with the arms up and out. In about 10 seconds, we're going to walk out to our plank position. You can have the knees up or bring the knees down for your push-up. Let's get ready. 2, 1. Here we go. Reach it up, inhale, and exhale. Walk the hands out. Find your strong plank, either knees up or knees down. Push up. So that one can be a push up all the way, chest to the ground, or you can make it just a tiny pulse, just to sort of wake up the chest, especially for the first movement of the day. Start to connect to your breath here. Again, I'm taking things nice and slow, being in premenstrual territory, just a few days out from my period. So just wanting to improve circulation, keep the consistency going with something that's not going to drain my energy levels. If you're in the follicular phase, you might be moving a little bit more quickly. I'll leave that effort, that intensity piece up to you. Let's get one more push up here and then hold in your plank. I want you to take your forearm down, pivot onto the side, stack the feet, stack the shoulders, come into your side forearm plank. Here you can take one arm out to the sky. The hold might be enough. You can also bring your knees down if it feels like too much. We're going to hold this forearm plank, and then you have the option of adding a little bit of a roll. So we reach the arm up and over, and then we wrap that arm under without adjusting the shoulders and the hips. So here we just roll, wrap it under, and come back up. So you're keeping those shoulders and hips stacked in the same plane. You're pressing into the forearm, that shoulder directly over the elbow. And then any point of contact with the mat, I want you to press down to create that arching action in the underside waist. Breathing here. Try to release any gripping you have in the neck and shoulders. We're going to switch sides. So the next time you take that arm under, take it all the way, switch to the other side, exchange arms. So get set up first. Really stack the shoulders and the hips, find that alignment, and then start to add some of that gentle rotation. So again, just the top arm moving here. You're keeping those shoulders stacked. Finding that deep breath. Again, you always have the option of bringing the knees down. Even with the knees down, you'll find a lot of stabilization happening in the underside waist. So find the entry point, the level that feels appropriate for you on this day, and that may change. So one day, side planks may feel great. Another day, maybe you need to bring the knees down and focus on mind-muscle connection. Lots of ways to make this practice work for you. We'll be here for 3 more seconds, then we're coming into bear plank. So you'll take one hand down, then the other, stack shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, coming into bear plank. Here, option 4, either tapping shoulders, one and then the other, or a little more challenging, tap one knee and then the other. You can also bring the knees down and just be in this mode, focusing on that balance, that core activation. Here, the goal is to keep shoulders and hips perfectly even the entire way through. We tap and tap. So you can be tapping shoulders or knees, maybe some combination of both. What I want you to focus on is not letting the lower belly collapse. So I really want you to shorten the gap between your hip points and your low ribs without collapsing in the chest. So we keep the upper body nice and long, crown of the head reaching forward. And breathe. Next up, we're going to come into a kneeling position. We'll take the shins down, bring your hands behind your head, step right foot, left foot, lift to the toes, calf raise, then right foot down, left foot down. Then we exchange left foot up, calf raise, and then we come down, left foot, right foot. So we're switching the legs each time. So we're keeping things nice and even. You change the foot that you lead with every rep. Lift up into that calf raise and back down. Nice work. So find your balance. Keep the elbows nice and wide here. Lift up onto the toes. Feel the calves engage. Just alternating nice and slow between one side and the other. You can take a little pause if you want in that squat position. And up, last 2 and 1. We're going to come into our hip hinge next. So you can keep the hands behind the head, hinge, squeeze the pinkies behind you. Come back and lift up. So you've got micro bend in the knees, reach the crown of the head forward, squeeze the triceps, come back up. So find the horizontal, squeeze the pinkies behind you and come back up. You should feel a lot of heat in the backs of the arms here. We're waking up the shoulders. And even just holding the hands in position behind the head, that's going to activate the upper back. You should feel that engagement around the shoulder blades. We've got 20 more seconds here. Squeeze and come up. Again, make sure the belly is braced. Make sure you're reaching the crown of the head forward, almost like your heels might lift, but then you anchor the heels down. Last one like this. And then we're going to come up. We're going to step back with the right foot and then hug the knee into balance. Come back into your lunge and then balance. So feel that core activation at the top to stop the knee. You've got some momentum coming up, but then you have to use your core to stop and hold it in place. Stepping back and up. Aim for 90-degree bends in both knees here. Shoulders floating directly over the hips. Doesn't have to be too quick. You can slow it down if you need to. You can be working with a chair or near a wall if you need a bit of balance support. We're here for just about 15 more seconds, and then we're going to hold that balance position. So get ready for that. Keep that smooth, steady breath. Focus your gaze on a non-moving point to support your balance, and then hold. Let's take the arms overhead. Make sure you're not flaring the low ribs. I want you to wrap the elbows behind you, squeeze. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, behind you, squeeze. So you should feel some nice heat in the hip flexor, the quad here. I want you to spread the toes of your standing foot. Anchor all 4 corners of that foot into the mat. And then focus, double down on mind-muscle connection in the upper body. So reach it up, shoulders relaxed, widen out, squeeze the elbows behind you. Excellent work. Keep that lifted foot flexed here. Keeping everything stable, just allowing the arms to move from that balanced position. Breathe in and out as you contract. So think about not pinching the shoulder blades together, but pressing them onto your back. After this, we're going to switch. So we're going to step back with the left leg and then come up to that balance. So same thing here. It's a lunge to a standing balance. So I'll turn to face you here so we can move together. Step it back, hover the knee, and come up. So again, you're moving slow enough that you're not losing your balance with that momentum, but you've got a little bit of power as you come up to standing. Reach it up. Notice the difference, how this feels from one side to the other. Maybe balance feels really easy on one side and then a little trickier on the other. Just pay attention to these little nuanced differences from side to side. Step it back and up. So your heart rate zones that you're aiming for will be different from one phase to the next. Let's get one more. hold it here, take the elbows wide, press your head into your hands, and then squeeze the elbows. Try to touch them without shrugging the shoulders, and then open it out. Find your balance. Squeeze and open. Press the head into the hands, shoulder blades onto your back. I want you to feel that stretch in the upper back, contraction in the chest. Back to heart rate zones. So you will have different heart rate zones depending on where you are in your cycle, sort of optimized for what's going on in your body. I will include a link that breaks it all down in the video description. But if you're needing your backup plan, if you're using this workout because life has gotten in the way, chances are you need something a little more low-key. So try to keep that steady breath nice and smooth so that you're not gasping for air. We're staying under the high intensity threshold. And let's keep the arms as they are. Let the feet be shoulder or hips width apart. Nice, easy squat. Come up and rotate. So hip flexors have already been working, and now we're lifting them into that twist. So come up, twist. Try not to round the upper body to meet that opposite leg, but instead lift that leg so high as you rotate. You want your hips to stay square to the front, only the upper body twisting here. Down and twist. After this, we're going to bring it back down to the mat. So stay focused for another 15 seconds or so, and then we're going to switch it up, coming into our plank position. Stand up nice and tall and keep that length as you twist. Let's get one more, and then we'll come into our plank position. Nice and quick. You can have the knees up or knees down. We're in our slow mountain climber. A little bit more crowded with space from the knees, but it can still be done. If you're in that half plank, your hips are forward of your knees, and you're just hugging one knee out to the side and then the other. If your knees are up, you're bringing one knee to the center and back. Super slow. So often we see mountain climbers performed very quickly, like you're running. I want this to be slow, like you're moving through water. So you feel that pull to the center and then release. Again, you're not letting the lower belly collapse. We're keeping that strong core. Give a little hug energetically of the heels of the hands to the ball mounts of the feet. Last 2 and 1. Flip over to your seat. Bend the knees. Bring the soles of the feet to the floor. Press your palms into each other. Squeeze the knees together. Open it out. Twist. I want you to give a slight lean back. Twist it open. So we're curling pubic bone toward the navel. We're lifting up and out through the heart, and we've got that slight angle back. So your core is on fire here. Twisting it open. As you twist open, make sure you're hugging the knees to the midline to keep the hips and pelvis square. So we're not letting the hips twist with us. Just finding that deep core engagement. We'll be here through this interval, and then we'll lower onto the back. Getting close to the end of our first 15-minute round. So you can start to kind of take that quick body scan, see if you're ready for another round or if maybe 15 minutes is enough. Let's lower down onto the back, hug your heels toward your hips, arms by your sides, keep the shoulders relaxed. We're going to lift one leg up, single leg bridge, come down and exchange. So we're just marching through that bridge. As you come up, I want you to make sure that your hip points are even, nice and level. We're just lifting up into that single leg bridge. You can keep the lifted leg bent, or maybe you lift it all the way straight. Keep that movement pattern nice and fluid. So take out the hard edges. Keep the lower belly nice and flat. And keep it out of the lower back. So we're not arching the lower back at the top. We're continuing that pull of the pubic bone up toward the navel to neutralize the low spine and keep this work in the glutes. Last one. Let's even it out. Come up, reverse tabletop. So arms up, knees are up directly over the hips. We're just going to alternate, taking one leg out with the opposite arm and back to center. If that leg extension is too much or you feel your back arching a lot, I want you to just tap the heel with the opposite arm. So heel tap and back to center. Otherwise, extending all the way out. So you want to curl the tailbone slightly under, close the gap between hip points and low ribs. So you're shortening that distance. It's like you're compressing a spring there. So we're keeping the low spine from taking over here and recruiting the core instead. So that's what the alignment is all about. We don't want to shift into that lower back mode. We're here just a few more seconds, and then we'll evaluate. So take your time, nice and easy, rolling up to a standing position. No rush here. We've got about a minute to kind of recover and transition between our two sets. So you have the option of calling it there. We slowed things down toward the end, so you should be ready to close out your practice if that's what you wish, if you want just a quick 15 minutes. Otherwise, you're with me, kind of shaking it out, getting ready for one more round, one more 15-minute round all the way through. I'll also include a gentle cool down if you want to add that to your practice, just to kind of round out that response in the body. So we've got just over 15 seconds before we'll start our second round, if you're sticking with me. So we're at the back of the mat, we're getting ready for our walkout push-up. So if the first round was sort of your warm-up, maybe you're keeping the knees up this time. You can also keep them down. Let's get ready. 2 and 1, reach it up. Inhale. Exhale, come down, walk the hands out, find your push-up. Walk the hands back, nice and easy, all the way up. Keep that spine straight and strong, belly engaged. And draw the elbows slightly behind you. So rather than having the elbows straight out to the sides like a T, I want you to angle them slightly back so you have more of an A-frame with the body here. That's going to load the chest and shoulders just a little bit more safely. You should feel the chest fire there without feeling any strain or pulling in the shoulders. I did the T push-up for many, many years and had a very strained relationship with this movement pattern. Once I started to bring the elbows back a little bit, everything improved. Let's hold that plank. Bring one forearm down, stack the hips, stack the shoulders. Find your side plank. Once you're there, you can add that top arm rotation. Again, no sense of urgency here. We want this to feel slow and smooth. Nice and easy breathing. Make sure your shoulders are staying stacked, hips are staying stacked. I want you to curl the pubic bone toward the navel, even in this plank position, so that we have that neutral low spine. Keep pressing down into the floor wherever you have points of contact. Find that fluid out breath, maybe through pursed lips. Notice your shoulders. Are you shrugging them, creating tension in the neck? Can you stay relaxed? Just a few more seconds here and we'll exchange. So take that forearm all the way down, switch sides, reach it up. And then here you have the option to rotate and open. So these patterns now feeling a little bit more familiar in the second round. So you can stay as you are, or maybe take it up a notch if you worked with your knees down last time. Maybe try a few reps with the knees up. Or if you're keeping the knees down, just focus on mind-muscle connection. So really pushing into the floor to create that arch in the underside of the body. Open it up. We've got a bear plank coming up next. So we're kind of starting with upper body and core before we move into the lower body and then back down for more core work. Let's get ready to switch to your bear plank in 3, 2, 1, make sure shoulders are over the wrists, hips are over the knees. You can be in tabletop with the knees down if that feels better. You're either tapping the shoulders, one and then the other, or tapping opposite knees. This movement pattern looks so much easier than it actually is. This is hard work here for stabilization. So you're keeping your shoulders and your hips square the entire time. You're bracing the low belly, drawing it up and in, and maintaining that focus. So as soon as your mind starts to wander, this balance work gets exponentially more difficult. So stay in it, stay present, stay focused. We're here for just 10 more seconds, and then our kneeling to stand. So you bring the knees down in 3, 2, 1. Knees come down, hands behind the head. We step up, up, lift to the toes, and then back down. So you create sort of this circular motion where you're coming up with one side, down with the other, and then up with the other side and switch. So you're always leading with a different leg each time. Up onto the toes, make sure you get those calves engaged. Lift and lower. So again, you're pressing your head into your hands to keep that nice long neck. This is a very functional movement pattern, one that we probably use many times a day. Getting onto the ground and back up. We're here for 3, 2, and 1. Coming into our hip hinge with that tricep squeeze. So fold the body in half, squeeze the arms behind you. Come back up and drive through the heels. Feel that activation in the backs of the legs. So I want you to feel a little bit of a stretch across the glutes. Shift the weight slightly forward into your feet. Spread your toes so that you stay nice and balanced, and anchor the heels. So you've got a tremendous amount of effort in the feet. You're loading this pattern from the ground up. Keep those shoulders nice and relaxed. Should feel the entire back body coming online here. So the rivers of the spine that support your posture. And we're working the backs of the arms as well. So squeezing those pinkies behind you. Because we don't have weight, you have to have that additional intention and effort. Let's switch. Step back with your right foot into a lunge and balance. So we step back and hug that knee in. Find that fluid rhythm. Find your steady balance at the top. Bring that knee as high up as it will go. You can just alternate the arms here to help with balance, or you might even have your arms out to the side. But again, that will add some effort, some shoulder work here. So you might just be in that runner's stance. So we're not leaning forward or back here. We're keeping the spine nice and lifted, nice and tall. Let's get ready to hold this position in about 10 or so more seconds. I know that front working leg is probably speaking to you right about now. We'll hold the next one, lift it up, find that steady balance position, take your arms overhead, squeeze the elbows down to your sides, lift, reach, and then take that wide path around, squeeze the elbows behind. So your lifted leg, that hip flexor quad, definitely talking to you. I want you to see if you can even out both sides of the waist. Make sure you're lifting out of the hip creases. Inhale and exhale. Reach it up and out. Stay with me here, and then we'll switch it out. I promise. I know the leg's getting a little bit tired. We have 15 more seconds. Spread those bottom toes. Feel stable, supported in that standing leg. This, again, so much more happening beneath the surface than what it might appear. Let's switch sides. So now stepping back with the left foot, come to that balance. Reaching it back and lift. Evening out the sides now. Notice how that first side feels. The hip flexor may be a little bit fatigued, so you start to feel more of that glute activation. Not altogether a bad thing. Let's keep that spine lifted nice and tall. Check in with your breath. Make sure you're not holding the breath or the intensity creeping up too high. Step it back and lift. We're here. Just under 20 more seconds. And then we're holding once again. We're coming into the home stretch of this workout. Let's get ready to hold. Hold it up. Take your hands behind your head. Press your head into your hands. Open the elbows wide. Soften the shoulders. And then squeeze. Let the elbows wrap around. Open them wide. Squeeze. I want you to feel the chest as you stretch the upper back. So contract the chest. Squeeze those elbows. Maybe they touch. And open. Press the shoulder blades onto the back. So this full range of motion here in the arms. Open nice and wide. And exhale. You can feel that work in the chest and back here. At the same time, your legs have not stopped working this whole time. So reconnect to the breath, reconnect to your belly. Squeeze and stretch. Feel those two ends of the movement. We're almost there. And next up, prisoner squat with a rotation. So we squat it down, come up, and twist. So again, here, you're keeping the spine lifted. You're just bringing that opposite knee to meet the elbow. Requires a ton of hip flexor strength and mobility. So we're working here. If that knee lift is too much, maybe you're getting tired, you can always just come up to your standing twist. You can take the balance piece out of it. Otherwise, lifting that knee. And don't worry if they don't connect. They may not. That's okay. We want to create that intention. Keep the chest lifted as you squat. Not arching the lower back. Knees are neutral, so they're tracking over the toes, not splaying in or out. After this, we're coming down to our plank for those slow mountain climbers. Take your time. Transition here. Knees can be down with the hips forward, or your knees are up. Either way, you're pulling one knee in and then the other. Remember, keep the lower belly drawing in and up so we're not collapsing there. Squeeze the thumbs energetically toward each other like you're trying to create a ripple in your mat. Micro bend in the elbows so we're not locking that joint. And then similarly, hug the heels of your hands and the ball mounts of your feet in toward each other. That's going to fire up the front body like crazy. This is our last sort of high energy burst. And then we'll come down for some targeted core work to cool it down, close it out. We're here for under 10 seconds. Let's slowly lower onto your seat. Bend the knees, bring the soles of your feet to the mat, squeeze the knees together. Mirror that in the hands and then lean back only so far as you can keep your chest lifted. We open and close, switch sides. Open and close. So use the knees hugging to the center as a counterbalance for the twist. You should feel this deep in the low belly, the obliques, the side waist. So as you twist, squeeze the knees to the center. Keep the feet pressing into the floor. Spread the toes. So you have this anchor point in the lower body, and then you can twist in the upper body. See if you can open just a little bit further here with each rep. Shoulders nice and relaxed away from the ears. We've got just about 5 more seconds. Let's get one more rep on each side. and slowly lower it down. Coming into your bridge position, we're going to lift one leg up, and then we lower and switch. Lift that leg up and switch. Again, you can keep the lifted knee bent or straighten that leg all the way out. If the single leg variation is causing any strain in the lower back or the hamstrings, you can always be in just your glute bridge, really focusing on scooping the tail under every time. I want you to flatten out that low belly, scoop the tail under. Keep the hip points level and even. We have just over a minute to go. We are closing out this practice with that focused work for the core. Breathe in as you come down, exhale as you lift. Last 3, 2, 1. Come to your reverse tabletop. For dead bugs, either heel taps or leg extensions. So either straight leg or you're just tapping the heel as the opposite arm goes overhead. Notice what's happening in the lower back. It's going to want to arch to help the abs, which are probably pretty tired by now. But I want you to keep them online, keep them awake. Breathe in and out. This is our final exercise, so feel free to really slow it down. Focus on that nice and easy breath. So the more that we can create that calming response with the longer exhales, the quicker we will resolve the stress response from our workout so that we can be on our way with the rest of the day. And rest. Squeeze your knees into your chest. Gently rock side to side. So we don't really have a proper cool down in this workout. It's gentle enough. Slowly come up to a seat. Gentle enough that you can head right out. We sort of stayed in that warm-up mode for most of the practice. I want you to come into your ball pose squat here. Bend the knees, stretch the soles of the feet. And then unfold, come into your forward bend. Let the head hang heavy if that feels good, but take your time here. So generous bend in the knees, just stretching the backs of the legs. Then I want you to come to your halfway lift, bring your hands to your thighs. Lengthen the crown of the head forward. Maybe a few rounds of cat and cow here, so stretching the spine and then rounding it in. And then very slowly, we'll roll up bone by bone all the way to standing. So we want to be very mindful with that transition from the back all the way up. That completes your total body workout for today. Hopefully you generated a little bit of heat. You're feeling that circulation improve. So you're kind of untapping your natural energy source. So I hope this workout has replenished you and helped you feel just incrementally better than when you arrived. That's our goal with all of these workouts, especially your backup plan. So save this one, keep it in your back pocket for those days when you need it most. Let's enjoy a huge breath together. Inhale and exhale, sigh it out. I want to thank you so much for joining me for this practice today and for letting your body be moved.